What's Joe Biden going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? Here's my answer. I am running, and we're going to win. I'm not going to change that.
Well, that's aged well, hasn't it? That was just 10 days ago, where Joe Biden was absolutely adamant that he would be running. But now he has finally gone, after all this time of insisting that he's in perfect mental shape, when he clearly isn't. He is now gone. Now, the question is, does this make it a more difficult run for Trump? Trump has come out sounding quite confident, to be honest. This is what he came out with yesterday when we heard the news that Joe Biden would no longer be running as president. So he posted this. He said, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve, and never was. He only attained the position of president by lies, fake news, and not leaving his basement. All those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, and he wasn't. And now look what he's done to our country, with millions of people coming across our border, totally unchecked and unvetted, many from prisons, mental institutions, and record numbers of terrorists. We will suffer greatly because of his presidency, but we will remedy the damage that has been done very quickly. Make America great again." Very Trump-esque language there. Now, Trump sounds pretty confident, but is he behind the scenes quite worried? So now, for a lot of people who are maybe swing voters, who may normally vote Democrat but were thinking of voting for Trump because of Joe Biden's very, very, let's say, scary mental state. It is scary when someone in his position has a red button. I would be worried about letting him drive a car, let alone have access to the nuclear red button. To now have someone like Kamala, even though she's been very deeply unpopular in the past, maybe that means just because she's not Joe Biden and her brain still works, that will give her a boost. But I'm not sure. I think maybe this is still going to be quite an easy run for Trump, because let's just have a look at who Kamala Harris is.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome these leaders for coming in to have this very important discussion about some of the most pressing issues of our time. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit. And
What? She didn't just say what her pronouns are. She had to tell me that she is a woman and what outfit she is wearing. She's saying here that she wants to talk about pressing issues, but it seems to me like the issues that she thinks are pressing are the outfit that she is wearing. But it wasn't just her in the meeting who introduced themselves like this. This seems to be how she spends all of her time at meetings.
Thank you, Ravini, and thank you, Madam Vice President. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a white woman with long brown hair. I'm wearing a red dress, and I'm wearing a see-through mask so you can see my red lips.
Wow, how beautiful. You look so gorgeous in a mask with a little cling film see-through patch in the middle so that we can see your beautiful red lipstick. How amazing.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
What can be unburdened by what has been. 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 What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Now this video goes on for 4 minutes straight, compilation of her saying what can be unburdened by what has been. I mean, what kind of a catchphrase do you call that? What does that even mean? It's just word soup, as some people have described the way that Kamala Harris speaks. I mean, she's mumbling almost like Joe Biden. And this woman, she might lead a strong campaign where she says all the right things about what she's going to do for the country over the coming weeks and months. But how can she hide the fact that she, A, oversaw everything that went wrong in Biden's term, especially the migrant crisis? They have had, I think, around 7 million come through illegally into the US under Biden, right? And just to put that into context, I mean, here in the UK, we've been struggling and communities coping with when we had 45,000 people in 1 year come across in small boats. But think about how it's devastating communities in America, having had 7 million people in Biden's term come into the US illegally. And she was given the brief to deal with the southern border problem. I understand that that is a very difficult brief to be given, but they have just opened the gates and let them all in, and she is responsible. Also bear in mind that Biden, we all know that he wasn't really the one running the show whilst he was president. We know that it was people like Kamala Harris who are responsible for what was actually going on during Biden's term, and she cannot hide from that. And the other thing that is difficult for her to hide from is the fact that she covered up Biden's mental decline. People cannot trust her when she was going on TV constantly saying things like this.
We have a very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden.
But a majority of Americans, a majority of Democrats, according to our new poll, say they don't want President Biden to run again. What do you say to them?
I mean, George, I think that age is more than a chronological fact, to be very frank with you. It's about thinking about whether we have in our leader, which we do in Joe Biden, somebody who is bold. I mean, think about it. And in Joe Biden, we have a president who is probably one of the boldest and strongest American presidents we have had in
boldest and strongest. This guy is dodging cognitive tests whilst Trump is dodging bullets. I think I know who is the boldest and strongest of the two candidates. Now, this video, this compilation that was made putting together all of these media rounds of Kamala Harris insisting that Biden is in good mental shape to be president. This video goes on for another 6 minutes. She has done so many media rounds where she has lied and lied and lied. She worked next to him every day. She knew what state he was in. This is the man who mixed up Putin and Zelensky. The man who also, and in the same conference, mixed up Kamala Harris with Trump. He said VP Trump. And the list goes on, right? She was part of this cover-up. And I just want to bring you to this video from a couple of videos from Vivek Ramaswamy, who you may know was originally running to be candidate for the Republican Party, but no longer is and is supporting Trump. But he, at a debate last year, said this.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the
Ramaswamy,
truth so we can have an honest
time is
debate.
up. Ambassador.
Well, there we go. So Vivek predicted, and this is just one clip of many from last year, where he predicted that the Democrats, they would keep Biden as their candidate, and then later on in the game, they would swap him out for somebody else. But why is that? Because from the outside, it just seems like disorganizational chaos. Why would they wait this long? Surely they should have got rid of Joe Biden as soon as his mental ability started to decline, so that we wouldn't have this embarrassment that we've seen over the past few months of him mumbling and jumbling and struggling to put his words together and struggling to walk upstairs, because that has definitely harmed the Democrats' reputation. But I just want to show you this explanation that he gave on the news for why he thinks that the Democrats have left it this late on purpose.
Vivek, I have been dying to talk to you all day, and here is why. I spoke to you pre-debate, and you told me Biden would not be the nominee. You've been saying it over and over and over. Post-debate, I suspect you still believe that, but tell me how it plays out.
Look, I think that the reality is the managerial class around Biden has lost their use for him. This has been obvious to me since last year. Play out the incentives. He is not the strongest candidate they can put up. And these people, they have stopped at nothing to keep Donald J. Trump out of office. You think they're going to stop at this step? I think it's actually one different game they're playing, Kaylee, is they want this to happen as late as possible into the cycle. They want it to be in the honeymoon phase of a new candidate. Initially, you get that honeymoon phase before the scrutiny comes. If that swap out comes in August or even after August, they get to put up a candidate who will not yet have had the scrutiny, keep Republicans guessing. And that's, I think, the game that's actually going on here. And the reality is, I think there's only two viable choices, really, if you think about it. The Democratic Party is wedded to identity politics. The only reason Kamala Harris got that job, frankly, is because she was a black woman. Don't take my words, take it from the words of the Democratic Party itself, which leaves Kamala Harris or Michelle Obama. That's where I predict this plot ends, and I don't think it's going to happen particularly soon. I think it's in their incentive to wait as long as possible, and that's exactly where I think the game goes from here.
Interesting. So August?
Very, very interesting words from Vivek Ramaswamy there. So he is suggesting that this was planned for the Democrats to wait until the last minute to get rid of Joe Biden and swap him out for someone else. And that explanation is quite interesting, that you will, if you bring in a candidate at the last minute, the election will happen during the honeymoon phase. And I have seen this in UK leadership elections in the Conservative Party, for example, that you often find the front runner at the beginning of the leadership race ends up not being the leader in the end, because they have that honeymoon period and then all eyes are on them, all the scrutiny comes for them, then scandals start coming out, bits from the past start coming out, and then someone who is fresher and newer towards the end of the contest ends up being the one who wins in the end. So it is interesting that this might be the game that they're playing. I'm not sure if he's right. It might be the case that just Biden, they don't have a way to force him out. He has to make the decision for himself to go, and he was being adamant that he is going to run, and it did not help that he did not have family and friends around him telling him honestly what state his head is in. He has got Jill Biden, he's got his son, or did have at least until yesterday, insisting that he's great, he's doing amazing, and he is able to serve another term, which really did not help in convincing Joe Biden to make the decision to step down. It sounds like Obama was very, very crucial in making this decision yesterday happen, convincing Joe Biden to step down. So it's not going to be Joe Biden. Could be Kamala Harris. Michelle Obama was mentioned there by Vivek. Maybe Michelle Obama could come in, but I feel like we would have heard of it by now if she was going to come in. Obama has not chosen a candidate. He has not endorsed Kamala Harris. He is kind of stepping back and saying, I hope that the Democrats will come up with an appropriate due process to choose the best leader for our country. So that is very, very interesting. Michelle Obama has said in the past that she actually does not like presidential life. She's been through it, being right next to Obama through everything. She says that she finds it very stressful, it's not very enjoyable, and hence she is not that interested. But who knows, she could at the last minute decide to come out and run herself. Now, if it's not going to be Michelle Obama, who else could run against Kamala Harris? Well, this guy, Gavin Newsom, who is the governor of California, is the one that everyone else is talking about as a potential candidate. Now, who is this guy? He is very, very woke, and you've seen what has happened to California, but apparently he's more popular than Kamala Harris, but it is going to be difficult for the Democrats to replace her with him because, as you can see, this is a white man, and the Democrats are obsessed with DEI, and it's going to be very, very difficult for them to get rid of a woman of colour in favour of a white man. Now, should you be excited about this guy? Could this guy potentially be a good candidate if he can get selected, who can actually give Donald Trump a run for his money? Well, let's have a look at what he's been introducing in California. So we had this come out the other day, this headline. Elon Musk announces X and SpaceX HQs will move from California to Texas after new gender identity law. So what was this new gender identity law? So the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, signed a bill prohibiting schools from notifying parents of their children's gender identity. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the state owns your children, not you. This is quite scary. This means that parents can have it hidden from them that their children have decided to change their gender at school. And this also comes after last year we saw Gavin Newsom and the Democrats in California introduce a rule that in court, the gender identity of a child and whether parents affirm the child's gender identity has to be taken into account when deciding who has custody of a child. And if you do not affirm the gender identity, chosen gender identity of your child, you could potentially lose custody of your child to the state. Yes, that's right. The state could take your child from you into their hands. This is a scary, scary man. And take the woke trans stuff to the side, you've got the huge drug crisis going on in San Francisco. It's full of homeless people, it's full of drug addicts. All the businesses are leaving. What used to be a wonderful, wonderful place has completely fallen under this man. Imagine if the whole of the United States becomes like California. We are doomed. So I'm very skeptical that this is going to be a popular guy that everyone can get behind to beat Trump. So we'll see what happens, and I don't think that Trump should get complacent. He needs to work as hard as he possibly can. But if you ask me, Trump is safe, because look at the options the Democrats have for their candidates. They're all pretty shocking, if you ask me. I'm Chloe Dobbs. This has been another video for Reasoned. Remember that we need your support to be able to make these videos for you. So please consider becoming a supporter on our channel on YouTube, and we're going to be soon releasing some special perks just for members, so consider donating a little bit each month to help us do what we do, and we can give you some little exclusive perks just for you. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video.